If there's one place that truly captures the heart of Provence and the southern French lifestyle, it's Aix-en-Provence. This vibrant city, rich in history and bathed in magical light, invites you to take a deep breath and simply savor the moment. Ready to visit? Check out our top 10 things to do in Aix and stick around for a bonus suggestion at the end of this video. Aix is ideally located about 2 hours by car from Nice, just half an hour from Marseille, and an hour and 15 minutes from Avignon. It's also easily accessible by train, even from Paris, which is only a 4.5-hour ride away. But now, let's dive into our top 10. When you arrive at Cours Mirabeau, our number 1, you're at the perfect starting point for any visit to Aix-en-Provence. This is the grand boulevard that separates the old town from the Baroque Quartier Mazarin, which you'll learn more about in just a moment. One end of Cours Mirabeau is graced by Aix's most famous fountain, La Rotonde, which is lovely both by day and night. 440 meters down the boulevard, the fountain of King René marks the opposite end of this grand thoroughfare, which was built around 1650, the site of the former southern city wall. Its purpose back then was twofold: for carriages to pass and for a stroll in the shade of elm trees, all while admiring the majestic mansions lining the street. Quite an innovative concept at the time. Initially, only cafes were allowed to open in this area. The oldest cafe that still existed was Les Deux Garçons from 1792, which unfortunately burned down a few years ago, but is set to reopen in 2025. Today, the boulevard hosts a market for clothes and textiles several mornings a week. There are many other markets in different squares around the city every single morning, by the way. Just across from the large fountain at the entrance to Cours Mirabeau, you'll find the starting and end point of the little tourist train, our second suggestion for you. Hop on next to the Cézanne statue, pop on your headphones, select your preferred language, and off you go. In about 45 minutes, you'll see and hear about most of the key sites to explore in Aix. We've taken this little train in so many cities by now, and we can't recommend it enough. It gives you a relaxed first look at the place, and afterwards you can head out to explore whatever caught your eye. An extra cool feature of the train in Aix, the glass roof. Makes sense, especially when cruising through those narrow lanes. By the way, Aix is super easy to explore on foot. But if your legs need another break, why not rent a Segway? Or hop on one of those cute little electric buses that cruise through the heart of the city on 3 different routes. They pass by some of the nicest spots in town, so give them a try. Aix-en-Provence has perfected it. Our number 3 for you is to experience the southern French lifestyle, often called la douceur de vivre, reflecting the region's relaxed, sun-soaked and leisurely way of living. The warm climate is great year-round, so it's no surprise that people head outdoors at every occasion, enjoying fresh food and just life in general. We're constantly in awe of the sophistication in Aix, from the stylish way the locals dress to the unmatched atmosphere that sets it apart from all the other cities we know in Provence and even the French Riviera. A big part of Aix's unique vibe comes from its student population, which makes up a significant portion of the city. The political science faculty, for instance, is located right across from the Saint-Sauveur Cathedral in the old town. Just down the road, you'll come across the Place de l'Hôtel de Ville, home to the town hall dating back to 1670, and an even older gem, the Bell Tower, built in 1510. So take a break and savor the little pleasures of life at one of the many cafes and restaurants scattered around the charming squares. Magnificent mansions, monumental gates, and streets laid out in a checkerboard pattern. This is what you'll encounter in this district south of Cours Mirabeau, our number 4. The Baroque Quartier Mazarin, built in the mid-17th century with a Place des Quatre Dauphins at its heart, became home to the parliamentarians and grand bourgeoisie of the era. It's definitely worth strolling through the quiet streets to admire the architecture, notice the little details in the few shop windows, and enjoy the ever-present fountains. We'll be back to explore the Granet Museum in this district and one particular mansion in just a minute. So, our number 5 is all about said mansions that once belonged to noble families, with the Pavillon de Vendôme from 1665 likely being the most important among the many Baroque aristocratic palaces in Aix-en-Provence. Built for his lover by the Duke of Vendôme, it's a delight to spend some time wandering through the beautifully symmetrical French garden, which is open to the public. The building now houses a small museum showcasing Provençal furniture and temporary exhibitions. And we absolutely wanted to take you into the Hôtel de Caumont Centre d'Art back in the Mazarin district. It's one of the rare urban residences in Aix that features a courtyard and a garden, reminiscent of chateaux nestled within their parks. This design allowed the owners to highlight their aristocratic status and stand out from the other houses in the area. Today it's listed as a historic monument. The mansion underwent extensive renovations to restore it to its former glory just a decade ago. Every year it now hosts 2 temporary art exhibitions, along with regular concerts, lectures, and a film about Axe's most famous painter, Cézanne. If you want to peek inside for free, you can. There's always the cafe on the ground floor, with its beautiful garden terrace, perfect for breakfast or afternoon tea and cake. Plus, the impressive gift and bookshop invites you to browse. As you've gathered by now, the fine arts play a major role in Aix-en-Provence, which brings us to our number 6. The city's most famous son is Paul Cézanne. The tourist office offers a self-guided walking tour centered around the post-impressionist painter, who was profoundly attached to his hometown and reveled in the unique light of Provence. As a young man, Cézanne took classes at the drawing school run by the local art museum, today known as Musée Granet, where we take you next. Here you can admire around 750 paintings and sculptures spanning several centuries. Don't miss one of Cézanne's masterpieces, Bathers, from around 1895. You'll also see works by masters such as Ingres and Rembrandt, alongside local Provençal painters and more recent artists like Giacometti or Picasso. Your admission ticket to the Granet Museum also includes access to a second building, the Granet 20e, which showcases a collection of modern art. Housed in a 17th century chapel, this venue alone makes the exhibition absolutely worth seeing. Expect works by Picasso, Dubuffet, and many others, along with temporary exhibitions. Our number 7 is also connected to the world of artists and intellectuals, but on a much darker level. Anja and I were deeply moved by our visit to Camp-des-Milles, and we absolutely wanted to share our experience with you. From here, more than 2,000 Jews, men, women, and children were deported to Auschwitz, as our guide Lea tells us. Initially, starting in September 1939, enemy subjects were imprisoned in this former brick factory, including artists and writers like the German Max Ernst and Leon Feuchtwanger, who left many traces on the walls during their time at Les Milles. Then, from 1940 to 1942, it became an internment camp for undesirables. And finally, within 2 months in 1942, more than 2,000 of the 10,000 people of 38 nationalities interned here were deported. A 2-hour audio-guided tour, available in several languages, takes you through the entire site, including the 3 floors where the internees slept. It's the only large internment and deportation camp in France still intact, and it's been open to the public since 2012, after a 30-year-long battle. The museum not only serves as a reminder of a cruel period in history, but also helps visitors to understand how human behavior can lead to genocide and how it can be prevented and resisted more effectively. Back to more cheerful topics with our number 8. We're taking you on a stroll to discover the many beautiful fountains that adorn the city. The name Aix comes from its Latin name, Aquae Sextiae, given by the Romans who settled here for the hot and cold springs scattered throughout the area. Today, 27 public fountains remain in the heart of the city, and it's definitely fun to check them out. You can follow this self-guided walking tour that takes you to 22 of them, and we'll quickly show you the most important ones. There's La Rotonde, of course, standing proudly in the center of the roundabout at the start of Cours Mirabeau. It's the largest fountain in Aix, adorned with 12 lions and 6 swans straddled by cherubic putti. Atop the fountain, 3 allegorical statues represent the 3 biggest cities of Provence, Aix, Marseille and Avignon. In the middle of Cours Mirabeau, you'll come across the fascinating mossy fountain. Go ahead and dip your hands in the water. It's warm, around 18 degrees Celsius year-round. This unique fountain was built in 1667. The Fontaine des Quatre Dauphins, located on the square that shares its name, is a symbol for the city's elegance and sophistication. This Baroque masterpiece, featuring 4 scaled dolphins, was also built in 1667. Locals take great pride in their Fontaine des Augustins, which sits in what might be Aix's prettiest and most elegant square, Place d'Alberta, with a distinct Parisian touch. It was completed between 1742 and 1746. Our number 9 is all about a more mundane pleasure, shopping. We adore the variety of boutiques in the old town, where you'll find unique clothing far beyond the typical brands seen everywhere else. Take your time window shopping, and who knows, you might just stumble upon your new favorite piece. Of course, there are also plenty of opportunities to stock up on souvenirs to take home. And an endless array of stores offering local culinary specialties. We'll dive into those some more in our next suggestion. If you're on the hunt for more familiar fashion stores, head over to the area near the tourist office. If Cézanne represents Aix artistically, our number 10 is its culinary highlight, the famous calisson. These almond-shaped candies, made from a paste of candied fruit and ground almonds topped with icing, date back to the 15th or 16th century and can be found in patisseries and souvenir shops all over the city. We suggest checking out Béchard on Cours Mirabeau. Not only do they produce the famous calisson, but they also offer incredible pastries and other sweet treats that are well worth a try. And if your mouth is watering right now, here's our bonus with yet another gourmet tip. Anja and I had dinner at this trendy brasserie, La Rotonde. And yes, you're very much familiar with this name by now. It's not the most original restaurant Aix has to offer, but it features great food, elegant decor, and plenty of tables, so you can usually snag one without making a reservation a week in advance. We started with a healthy cocktail as an appetizer, accompanied by complimentary olives. And then Anja opted for a poke bowl with fresh tuna and an array of vegetables, while I tried the less healthy but very tasty vegan burger, served with a bucket full of fries. A A perfect ending to an exciting day. Here's a quick overview of everything we've seen and done. And we hope our video has inspired you with some ideas for your next trip to Aix-en-Provence. For those of you who are new to our channel, Anja and I usually share our favorite spots on the French Riviera, with the occasional trip to Provence. Be sure to check out our dedicated playlists.